From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. How are you today, James? I'm glad to be back, and we have another exciting episode on tap.
Oh, I'm doing good, Steve, and yourself?
Doing well. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope that we both are. We're kind of entering the spring of 2025, so hopefully there's some good weather and some better enjoyment of being able to be healthier on the horizon.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. Not 100%, but I would say about 95%.
Okay, I don't know. You could ask for more than that on a regular basis. That's
Yeah.
excellent. If you caught our last episode, we talked a little bit about how to learn and grow as a programmer, and how do you develop a style and learn from other people, and also idea of maybe some best practices or guidelines for programming, but also how do you adopt your own. So what we want to talk a little bit about now, so that was a bit of an advanced topic. We want to talk more to the newcomer about, what are some options to learn and get in the game, and get yourself up to speed, because that's similarly challenging. We find that there are definitely barriers to entry in AV and in AV programming, and there traditionally the on road or the on ramp involved the manufacturer training, and while that's still a resource to everybody, I think it's not necessarily the only way of doing things or the only approach to take. So James, do you have some tips or recommendations to people that are looking to either get involved or have a need that they want to get themselves up to speed to be able to do some programming?
Yeah, I would say get all the materials you can. Not just manufacturers, but hit the socials, all the Reddit pages. I'm not a fan of Reddit. Nothing against Reddit. I haven't been a fan of it. I know so many people who use Reddit. There's Slack groups out there, there's Discord. There's tons of resources out there. Um, the key thing though, I will say, is you as the programmer need to go seek them out. They're not going to come to you. They're not going to go, "Hey, you're a new programmer. Here's all this information for you." There's no, like we mentioned the last episode, no color by number in programming. It's here's a blank canvas, go build your masterpiece. Um and your masterpiece better work and you need it by yesterday. um so we all understand that. That's why a lot of us, we do what we can do to get it done. But if we really want to learn and grow, is we got to get all the information we can. We can need to ask questions and go to manufacturers training. You're gonna learn stuff, even if you're just sitting there and talking to the person next to you, learning from them. So get into the manufacturer training, get into a sandbox environment, start playing with things and and don't worry about doing it one way the same time all the time. Tweak it a little bit. Be like, hey, this is what I need for my environment. How can I achieve that? Oh, like for example, manufacturer training, and this is not a knock on manufacturer training, is they're designed for the masses. Usually Fortune 500 company businesses, not really higher ed. We are a completely different beast. So sitting there in a manufacturer training saying, "Hey, this is how you control a thermostat with your AV control." Awesome. I'm not really doing that here in higher ed. But be able to control other things. Can I use the same concept and apply it? That's really the key, is taking the concepts and then using it for your environment.
Yeah, and I think there's two aspects there too. One is learning the functionality and how to define the solution, and then the other is learning how to implement it. So and so I think what you're talking to are important points, and one of them I think is more global and is applies to many platforms and many uh, different types of solutions, and other maybe more specific to certain brand or certain language too. So there's it's multifaceted, the things that we need to learn.
No, I agree. We gotta use all resources, as I keep saying. It probably be a common theme of this available to us. There's, as we said, no one right way of doing things. So whatever we can do to get the job done is what we need.
I I It makes me think too about the fact that there are definitely a lot of people in my career that have helped me along in different ways, and I've been able to learn and grow from. And I guess that defines a mentor, even if it wasn't truly uh, labeled that way at the time. And I think it's important to be open to uh, building those types of relationships with people that are willing to give and or want to help, and that and try to find a way to make it a two-way street, so that you're also giving and helping too, so that it never feels like it's one-sided, and it never feels like it's a burden for anybody, or there's a discomfort there. Just a tip or a thought that I had. You could really benefit a lot from being able to build a network in that way, and have people that you could turn to or call upon for advice, or to ask for input, or use as a sounding board. To your point about finding stuff online, it's even better when you could turn that into a relationship too.
100%. And I'll add that you will find people who shut the door on you.
Hmm.
Don't let that deter you. I know when I started out, I started asking some programming question, and I did not get straight answers. I need to go find out myself. So it's you're gonna have to put work out there. You need to find those people out there who will help you. Um, Usually, in my experience, the ones who are shutting the door on you are probably don't know what they're doing. So they don't know how to explain it to you because they don't really know what they're doing. So, and then others, it could be other reasons. Some people had the old mentality of, I know this, therefore my job is safe. Yeah, there's all that old school stuff. To me, is you got to find someone who's willing to work with you, teach you. Um, if you're sitting there worried about your job, that's not a good mindset to be in the beginning. Um, you're not growing because you're doing just enough to keep your job then, not advancing.
I think along the same lines, to your point, and I was going to bring that up too. I've definitely run into people that are protective, and they aren't going to give you straight answers, or they're going to kind of make you work for it because they had to. Um, but then if you find the right environment and the right team, or the right organization that is willing to invest, that could be incredibly valuable. What I would also say, the best way to find those opportunities and to keep them is to show that you're doing your part and you're bringing things to the table, and also you're willing to do some of the things that are going to help other people. And some of those things may be doing stuff that they don't like doing, but it's a trade-off. And if you're thinking long term and bigger picture, that could be very valuable.
So you bring up a good point there, Steve. And I got a question for you then. How how do we as a seasoned programmer provide guidance to new programmers who come in with questions without, I guess I'll speak frank here, without hand holding and giving them the answer.
Yeah, it definitely depends on style. So I've had people that I've worked with that their philosophy is that I'm going to give you some breadcrumbs and you're going to figure it out and you need to work for it. There are other people that will walk you through this and step you through the thought process. So they're not giving you the answer, but they're prompting you and steering you in the right direction. There are other people who are willing to say, hey, this is the way I did it. You can use that as you want and you can learn from it. Um, and then, as we said, there are some people that are just very closed. But I think it comes down to how do you learn to, and how do you, and what's um, the right approach for the situation. Sometimes you can't afford to give somebody um, the solution because they're just going to take it and never be able to and never own it and never grow. But then there's also other times where you can't afford to give them something that they have to figure out on their own because it's going to take too long. So so it really does kind of have to weigh the pros and cons and also consider the person that you're working with. Um, but I think it needs to be about the person, not you. So although you would want somebody to learn a certain way, I think it has to work best for them and the situation that you're in. But it can be tricky.
Yeah, I can definitely see it being tricky. Oh, good point. Good advice.
It you know I always try to think about and it comes down to for me to personality types. You treat people the way they need to be treated in order for them to succeed.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it used to be the saying, treat people as you want to be treated, but I know that's not the right way. It's do you treat people as they want to be treated? But could that also backfire on you? Because if say they want to be, oh, I want you to give me the answer.
yeah.
Like that's how I want to be treated. Though I don't want to think, I don't want to put work in.
And then I guess if that person, if you're responsible for that person, and or whether you're their manager or their boss or they're you need to rely on them. Then that's one thing. If they're a friend or they're somebody who you're just that you want to help out, you know, in that case it's okay, as long as they understand that you are giving them what they're asking for and you're telling them that they need to do their part to own it. But going back to if you're their boss or their manager, if they're in a role that they're looking to uh, grow, then they need to be able to show their ability to grow and their interest, their investment in growth.
No, I agree. Uh, you know, I actually was having this conversation with a good friend earlier today, and that growth that you're talking about is, as the programmer, we'll bring this back as programmer, is you got to take ownership of, your education. You got to take ownership. As I mentioned on top of this episode, they're not going to come to you. The manufacturers, the the Reddit pages, whatever, they're not going to come to you and say, "Hey, we see you're a new programmer. Here's all the resources for you." Um, the resources are out there. You actually have to put the work in to figure it out.
And quite honestly, there's more available now than there were when you and I certainly started and and those before us. So that's encouraging and that's a good thing. And there's certainly a lot of interest from the manufacturers and programmers succeeding. And there's there and there are to just share from my perspective. my company tries to make it easier for programmers to do their job and are trying to take on some of the heavy lifting. So there is, I think, a investment in the AV industry as a whole for programmers to succeed. Everybody just has to do their part and also value the part and the help that they're getting from others.
Mm, that's a good place there. Yeah, good advice.
So probably a good on that note, we'll wrap this one up. Hopefully this has been a insightful for people and we let you in a little bit behind the curtain about some things that we've experienced and we want to continue to do so. We want to get your feedback and your thoughts. So please let us know what you how you've approached learning before and maybe some things that have worked or haven't worked and it'd be great to be able to carry on this conversation and I hope that our audience is finding it valuable. If James, if people wanted to get in touch with you and continue this conversation, what would be a good way to do so?
Again, I'm out there. X as AV underscore James King on Blue Sky, LinkedIn, LinkedIn community, Ask the Programmer, anything with HEPMA. Again, you Google me, you'll find me. And I know might sound a little early, but I'll start throwing the plug out there. I will be at Infocom this June. So, and I will be presenting at least two classes. I might be doing a third one. So, I'll be around. If you need to talk to me or want to talk to me, I hope you do. Find me.
You better work on scheduling time. This man's a busy man, so and that's a really good a good thing to start thinking about. Infocom will creep up on us. We're recording this in March of 2025, but before we know it, we will be in the prep stage for that, especially if you're as busy as James is. And I have one class that I'm doing, and that's quite a lot myself, so I can only imagine. But please check that out and go in. And the great way, if you want to meet James, to go and find him is go to his session. And I know as a presenter, that's always rewarding. Um, for me, you could reach me at Steve Greenblatt on social media. You can connect with Control Concepts, my company who supports this show, to find out a little bit about how we help programmers and provide some of the device integrations as well as utilities to help programmers be more successful. And when we too want to raise the bar in the AV programming space and help more projects get done and more programmers have an easier time getting them done. And if you want to find out more about our show, you can either see the YouTube version, which is the video portion, or the audio portion on your favorite podcast player. Both are out there for you, and we've seen an increase in traffic there. So thank you for doing so and checking them out. And we definitely want to hear from you. So either of those platforms, you can leave a comment or a review. You could also reach out on the Ask the Programmer LinkedIn group or to us directly. But please let us know what you think. And we've done a few solo episodes recently. We want to have some guests on, but we also want to hear some more topics that you want to learn more about. So we look forward to that. And until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.